Much like positive expectancy results associated with placebo effects in medicine and how people typically embellish stories of the past to increase their value and misperceived validity, so too is the possibility associated with some of the stories in the New Testament Bible. As one brief example, did you know that Jesus never walked on water? Citing that Jesus Christ Michael would never defy his established laws of his universe by performing such an act. There are, however, healing miracles that Jesus did perform. While the majority of the grand feats presented in the Urantia Book were more identified with a cooperative approach involving Christ Michael's celestial hosts that assisted him, or was literally the natural result of such an individual's faith being restored simply through their experience of meeting our local sovereign. Consequently, here is a list of 7 miracles that you might find intriguing when compared against the New Testament Bible. All right, number 1, feeding the 5,000. The Sermon on the Mount feeding is the first and only nature miracle which Jesus performed as a result of his conscious pre-planning. It is indicated that his disciples were predisposed towards calling many things miracles which were not. But this great feast miracle was a genuine supernatural ministration. In this case, so-called celestial personalities are taught that Michael multiplied food elements, as he always does, except for the elimination of the time factor and the visible life channel. As mentioned earlier, with the exception of his healing ministry, many of his other miracles involved time distortions, were impromptu, or involved Christ Michael's agents. After witnessing the historical mass feeding event, the masses wanted to make Jesus their king, with the following rebuke given by Jesus Christ Michael in 152:3.2.
You would make me king, not because your souls have been lighted with a great truth, but because your stomachs have been filled with bread. How many times have I told you that my kingdom is not of this world? This kingdom of heaven, which we proclaim, is a spiritual brotherhood, and no man rules over it, seated upon a material throne. My Father in heaven is the all-wise and the all-powerful ruler of the spiritual brotherhood, of the sons of God on earth. Have I so failed in revealing to you the Father of spirits that you would make a king of his Son in the flesh? Now all of you, go hence to your homes. If you must have a king, let the Father of lights be enthroned in the heart of each of you as the spirit ruler of all things.
Consequently, this testament by Christ Michael is the strongest revelation as to why his later ministry majorly was devoid of non-healing miracles. Outwardly, demonstrations of power have a tendency to take away the volition or internal power of those so influenced. Number 2, the centurion servant. The centurion story, located in 147:1, is a timeless depiction of Jesus' authority and explains that Christ Michael does not work in isolation with only our Heavenly Father. After hearing that a centurion's orderly was fatally sick in 147:1.2, the Roman centurion responded to Jesus, stating,
Lord, trouble not yourself to enter my house, for I am not worthy that you should come under my roof. Neither did I think myself worthy to come to you. Wherefore I sent the elders of your own people. But I know that you can speak the word where you stand, and my servant will be healed. For I am myself under the orders of others, and I have soldiers under me. And I say to this one, go, and he goes. To another, come, and he comes. And to my servants, do this or do that, and they do it.
Marveling at the Romans' faith, Christ Michael responded by saying,
Verily, verily I say to you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel.
And then took leave with the orderly miraculously being healed. Number 3, water into wine. The centurion incident was not the only incidence of Jesus' orders being executed by his spiritual attendants or indirectly by renewed faith in God. Another incident occurred in a wedding at Cana when Jesus had accidentally ordered 6 stone jars of water to be turned into wine. I know. How can Christ Michael tell someone to fill jars with water to be made into wine and describe that event as being an accident? This one takes some explaining, and in the Urantia Book even indicates that this report isn't entirely accurate either, since Jesus never ordered jars of water to be filled, but rather the filled jars already existed for purification purposes. The story begins after running low on wine in Cana. Mary, Jesus' mother, in 137:4.7 indicated that they would speak with their son, Jesus, as to what to do. After receiving a gentle rebuke from Christ Michael indicating,
I have not to do things in this wise.
Jesus then began experiencing feelings of gratitude and sympathy for his earthly mother and accidentally stated,
Now, Mother Mary, grieve not over my apparently hard sayings. For have I not many times told you that I have come only to do the will of my heavenly Father? Most gladly would I do what you ask of me, if it were a part of my Father's will.
This statement was an accident in the fact that such an act was not in direct defiance of her Father's will. And the last sentence was likely intended to be an inner desire monologue that he accidentally overtly stated. Ironically, Christ Michael's personalized thought adjuster had warned Jesus that there was no longer a differentiation between Jesus the man and the universe creator sovereign, and such outwardly stated desire at that very moment became an order to his staff of power transformers, midwayers, and all the other required personalities that executed Christ Michael's divine will concerning those 6 jars filled with the purification water. No law of nature was modified, abrogated, or even transcended with Jesus. Nothing happened but the abrogation of time in association with these celestial entities going through the natural process of making real wine. All right, number 4, the healing at sundown. In 145:3.8, a group of individuals hearing Jesus' healing practices began forming. A formal petition was made of Jesus to heal the masses, asking to restore their health and to save their souls. In response of what appears to be intentional mobilization of seraphim, physical controllers, life carriers, and midwayers, it was almost as if they knew that such a healing directive would be given. Christ Michael capitulated as long as the Father in heaven did not object. In that brief moment of time, 683 men, women, and children were made whole and were healed of all their physical diseases and other material disorders. Such a scene was never witnessed on earth before that day, nor since. It should be known that the representative that had the final seal of approval for such an action was Jesus' personalized thought adjuster, who, speaking on the Father's behalf, ruled that such an action would not violate God's will. Number 5, the resurrection of Lazarus. The resurrection of Lazarus is so detailed and complex that the incident comprises an entire paper of the Urantia Book. Martha came over the brow of a hill to tell Christ Michael that her brother, who was Jesus' friend, had just passed away 4 days previously. The entire community was puzzled with Jesus' response on the matter, and in 168:0.3, indicating,
This sickness is really not to the death.
Then after Martha indicated that their brother would rise again on the last day, Christ Michael replied indicating,
I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he dies, yet shall he live. In truth, whoever lives and believes in me shall never really die. Martha, do you believe this?
After these words were spoken, and Martha professed their belief, Jesus wept for a brief moment, and despite there being contradictions associated with statements of not to the death and where have you laid him, the actual order for Lazarus' thought adjuster to be detained on our planet was given roughly 15 minutes previous to Lazarus breathing their last breath. Remember that not all entities in our universe abide by the laws of time and space to greatly confuse this matter. 12 seconds after Jesus proclaimed,
Lazarus, come forth,
did Lazarus' body begin to move, and Gabriel, who is Jesus' firstborn son, made the appropriate entry in the heavenly records of the first and last time a person was resurrected in the flesh on our planet. Number 6, spontaneous miracles. Jesus Christ Michael also performed dozens upon dozens of unintentional miracles with people that were just in his presence. The Master never explained to his apostles how these healings were initiated, other than that on several occasions he merely said,
I perceive that power has gone forth from me.
On one occasion he remarked, when touched by an ailing child,
I perceive that life has gone forth from me.
It is speculated that many of these healings were the result of strong faith that was endorsed consciously by the Father and unconsciously by the Son. Again, faith healing appears to be correlated with one's thought adjuster along with unknown celestial entities that goes beyond the scope of this video. As I try to surmise from the entire context of the Urantia Book, it is likely that faith healing must be directly related to a sincere desire to do the Father's will, and there being some spiritual benefit to the healing for it to be performed. All right, and number 7, casting out the unclean spirit. Despite the Urantia Book indicating that the general negative influence of demons was swept away with the outpouring of the Spirit of Truth upon Jesus' crucifixion, during the times of Jesus, there were still a few demons that remained from the original Lucifer rebellion. As a quick side note, the Urantia Book indicates that the
We are legion
instance of the demons being casted into pigs that drowned in 151:6 was simply an exaggerated narrative surrounding a man described as the Carissa lunatic. However, there is one story of a true evil entity that Jesus did encounter and likely imprisoned. It was a distraught youth who was described as being possessed of an unruly and rebellious spirit. Christ Michael took the child by the hand and stated in 153:4.1,
You know who I am. Come out of him, and I charge one of your loyal fellows to see that you do not return.
At first glance, I, for one, thought loyal fellows meant another member of the rebellion. But after reading the entirety of the Urantia Book, I will speculate that he was either appealing to a loyal midwearer or seraphim to arrest the unclean spirit. As indicated by paper 153, this was a genuine example of a true demonic possession. For those of you who are interested, the inaccurately described war in heaven, or Lucifer rebellion, had several levels of containment previous to Christ Michael's arrival, majorly consisting of Melchizedek's stripping most of these entities of power and authority before Jesus' arrival. Jesus' final bestowal, along with the outpouring of the Spirit of Truth, granted both Christ Michael the ability and absolute authority to deal with his rebellious sons, once and for all, which concluded said rebellion and incarcerated Satan and Lucifer. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you on the next video.